Hello and welcome to Firstpost Live, where we bring you the day's top 4 stories from across the world. I'm Joshua Barnes, live from the Firstpost studios. Let's begin with the headlines. Gold surges to a new record high, nearing $5,600 an ounce after Donald Trump issued warnings of possible military action against Iran. China says it is ready to deepen dialogue and expand cooperation with the United Kingdom as Prime Minister Keir Starmer meets President Xi Jinping in Beijing. Both leaders stressed closer ties to navigate global and geopolitical headwinds. Taiwan says its military is stepping up combat-ready training and integrated defense drills as it simulates repelling a possible Chinese assault from the sea. Vietnam and the European Union pledged to deepen economic and security cooperation and upgrade ties as both sides seek reliable partnerships amid growing global uncertainty. And the Philippines' economy in 2025 grew at its slowest rate in 14 years, hit by corruption scandals, low investment and climate damage. Well, we begin today with the escalating tensions in West Asia. The United States and Iran exchanged sharp warnings over Tehran's nuclear program, even as the US military presence in the region continues to grow. President Donald Trump has issued a warning to Iran, saying that time is running out for Tehran to negotiate a new deal.
A massive armada is heading to Iran. It is moving quickly with great power, enthusiasm, and purpose. It is a larger fleet, headed by the great aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln, than that sent to Venezuela. Like with Venezuela, it is ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission, with speed and violence if necessary. Hopefully Iran will quickly come to the table and negotiate a fair and equitable deal, and no nuclear weapons, one that is good for all parties.
Tehran, however, maintains that its nuclear program is entirely peaceful and has consistently denied seeking nuclear weapons. On Wednesday, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio told lawmakers that the Iranian regime is weaker than ever, pointing to an economic collapse and widespread public anger. He said the US military buildup is meant to defend against potential Iranian action.
But that's, I think, what you're seeing now, is the ability to posture assets in the region to defend against what could be an Iranian threat against our personnel. They certainly have the capability to do it because they've amassed thousands and thousands of ballistic missiles that they've built. Despite the fact that their economy's collapsing, they keep spending money on that.
Rubio also underlined that President Trump retains the option of preemptive defensive action if there are clear signs of an imminent threat from Iran.
In essence, if we have indications that, in fact, they're going to attack our troops in the region, to defend our personnel in the region. We also have security agreements, the Defense of Israel Plan and others, that require us to have a forced posture in the region to defend against that.
Meanwhile, Iran said its armed forces are on high alert and ready to respond immediately and forcefully to any attack by land or sea. Tehran's UN mission also said that Iran is ready for talks with the United States, but warned it will defend itself if provoked.
Our position is clear. Negotiations cannot take place under threats, and any talks must be conducted in conditions where threats and excessive demands are set aside.
Well, this comes as pressure on Tehran is also mounting from Europe. Iran has also cautioned that there would be destructive consequences if the European Union designates the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a terrorist organization. Iran's sharp reaction comes after Italy's foreign minister called on Brussels to move forward with the proposal, and Argentina designated Iran's Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization this month. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has warned that any neighboring country allowing its territory to be used for attacks on Iran would be treated as hostile. This warning followed the arrival of a US aircraft carrier group in the region. Reports have now confirmed a significant US military surge in the region. Satellite images show at least 15 fighter jets have arrived at Jordan's Muwafaq airbase Additional aircraft have also been deployed to bases in Jordan, Qatar, and Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. A US aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln, has also arrived in the region. Iran has responded by deploying a drone carrier near its coast.
The Islamic Republic of Iran is confident in its own capabilities and also bears in mind past experiences, including the heroic confrontation of June. More capable than ever, it will respond to any act of aggression with a comprehensive and regret-inducing response.
And German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said on Wednesday that the Iranian leadership is running out of time as US President Donald Trump steps up warnings of possible intervention. And the ripple effect is being felt beyond just the region. While speaking with his Chinese counterpart, Russia's defense minister said that events in Venezuela and Iran show the need for coordinated actions by both defense forces. Tensions between Washington and Tehran escalated after weeks of anti-regime protests in the country, which killed at least 3,000 in a brutal crackdown. Now, with military assets moving and diplomacy stalled, the world is watching closely as the risk of miscalculation in West Asia continues to grow. Moving on, protests turned tense outside a US immigration detention center in Dilley, Texas. About 100 protesters gathered outside the South Texas Family Residential Center. They were calling for the release of detainees, including a 5-year-old Ecuador origin boy. Police moved in wearing riot gear. Tear gas and pepper spray were used to break up the crowd. Several protesters were seen washing their eyes and helping each other. At least one person was detained. One tear gas canister also landed close to journalists at the scene. The protest centers on a 5-year-old boy from Ecuador. He and his father are asylum seekers from the South American country. They were taken into custody in Minneapolis earlier this month. School officials say immigration officers used the child to draw his father out of their home. Images of the boy wearing a blue bunny hat and a school backpack went viral and sparked national outrage. Many accused authorities of targeting families and children. Soon after the child's detention, US Vice President J.D. Vance weighed in, defending the ICE operation.
So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America? If the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense.
While Democratic lawmakers visited the detention center earlier, they inspected the facility and asked to see the child. A Democratic lawmaker said the boy looked withdrawn and unwell and urged members of the US Congress to call for his release.
I will be putting in notice Friday morning with DHS to return to Dilley to check on Liam again and the many other children and families there. Liam did not look well. My staff and I are very concerned about him. I ask my colleagues in Congress, House and Senate to join me. I ask the American people to continue speaking up. Your voice makes a difference.
And local officials also joined the protest. They accused federal agents of frightening immigrant communities. Some protesters demanded funding cuts to immigration and customs enforcement, known as ICE. Others called for political accountability ahead of the midterm elections. Democrats have accused the Trump administration of misleading the public about the status of ICE detainees. A federal judge has temporarily blocked the deportation of the child and his father, and the case is still ongoing. The confrontation in Dilley highlights growing tensions over US immigration policy. It also raises renewed questions about the detention of children and families. For now, the future of the 5-year-old at the center of the protest remains uncertain. Let's now shift focus to growing concerns over the deadly Nipah virus. The fear has led to enhanced airport checks across several parts of Asia. This after India confirmed 2 cases of the deadly infection in the eastern state of West Bengal. Indian authorities confirmed Nipah virus cases in late December. Both patients are health workers and are currently under treatment at a local hospital. Following the direction, authorities imposed strict containment measures. Nearly 200 contacts linked to the infected patients were traced, tested and quarantined. The Indian Health Ministry said all of them tested negative, and the outbreak has been contained within West Bengal. Before we tell you more about the measures taken, let's first understand what Nipah virus is. It is a deadly virus carried by animals like fruit bats and pigs. They contaminate food like raw dates and palm sap with their saliva or urine. The infection can cause brain and fever, brain inflammation, and has a high fatality rate, ranging from 40 to up to 75%. While it can spread between humans, experts say transmission is difficult and usually requires prolonged close contact.
The Nipah virus infection is very dangerous. There are 3 reasons for this. First, there is no cure for it. There is no specific treatment and no medicine works. Secondly, there is no vaccine or inoculation for it. And the third thing is that its morbidity rate, the fatality ratio, is very high.
While the Indian Health Ministry has allayed fears, dismissing rumours and exaggerated figures, the government said that enhanced surveillance testing and field investigations ensured timely containment, and there is no evidence of a wider public health threat.
Following confirmation of these 2 cases, the government of India, in close coordination with the government of West Bengal, initiated prompt and comprehensive public health measures in accordance with established protocols. All traced contacts have been found asymptomatic and have tested negative for Nipah virus disease. No additional Nipah virus disease cases have been detected so far. The situation is under constant monitoring, and all necessary public health measures are in place.
Even as the Indian government said it has contained the virus in West Bengal, neighbouring Asian nations are on an alert. Several countries have launched screenings and checks at the airports with a high footfall of Indian travellers, including tourists and business passengers. Singapore and Hong Kong have introduced temperature screening for passengers coming from affected areas, while Thailand has allotted special parking bays for aircraft arriving from high-risk regions. Malaysia and Pakistan have boosted health screenings, while Nepal is on high alert because of its open border with India. China said no Nipah cases have been detected so far, but warned of the risk of imported infections. And Indonesia has rolled out thermal scanners at major airports, including the tourist hub Bali.
Of course, we're all afraid of all the viruses, especially after Corona. Everything is going to change and we lost so much people. So we think we should be very careful about these kind of diseases.
These countries see a large number of Indian travellers every year, especially tourists, which is why authorities say early screening is a precautionary step rather than a response to confirmed spread. There is a heightened sense of alert across nations after the COVID-19 pandemic. The governments claim they are prepared to act quickly to prevent any potential outbreak. And our final story is from India. The state of Maharashtra stood still in grief as thousands gathered in Baramati to bid a farewell to the Deputy Chief Minister of the state and senior politician Ajit Pawar. He was cremated with full state honours a day after his tragic death in a plane crash. Baramati, Pawar's hometown and political stronghold, saw party workers and supporters thronging the streets to pay their last respect.
ही मुश्किल है हमारे जैसे कार्यकर्ताओं के लिए कि वो इस दुनिया में नहीं रहे। उनका जो काम करने का तरीका था वो पूरे भारत में सबसे अलग था। जो काम में वो हाथ में लेते थे वो पूरा करने के बाद ही उनको चैन आता था। सर्वसाधारण कार्यकर्ता का जो काम रहता था वो खुद वो बोलते थे कि मैं काम करके दूंगा, और जो कमिटमेंट वो करते थे वो पूरी करने में वो जिद्दोजहद करते थे। उनके जैसा नेता अगले पीढ़ी में भी नहीं होगा और पिछली पीढ़ी में भी नहीं है। ऐसा महाराष्ट्र के विकास में जो उनका योगदान है वो पूरे आने वाली पीढ़ी को और हम जैसे कार्यकर्ताओं को कार्य करने के लिए हमको चेतना देते रहेगा, प्रेरणा देते रहेंगे।
65-year-old Ajit Pawar was killed on January the 28th. when his private charter aircraft crashed while attempting to land at the Baramati airport. The crash claimed the lives of all the 5 people on board. His mortal remains were identified by his son, reportedly through his wristwatch. Following the crash, the union's civil aviation minister assured a transparent probe into the incident.
The first time the pilot wanted to land at Baramati, there was a visibility problem, in the sense he was not able to sight the runway. So once that happened, he has communicated to the ATC, and the ATC also suggested to go around. So he has hovered around the runway, and then when he came back to land again, that was when the discussion happened again between the ATC, which is at the Baramati airport. And there again at the communication level, when they asked about the sighting of the runway, the pilot seems to have sighted the runway.
The leader's body was kept for public viewing, allowing people to pay their last respects. Afterwards, his 2 sons performed the last rites and lit the funeral pyre. During the state funeral, the national flag, which draped the leader's mortal remains, was formally handed over to his family, symbolising the state's tribute to one of its most influential leaders. The entire Pawar family was present, including his wife, who was seen breaking down in tears as she paid her final respects. Political leaders from across party lines attended the funeral. Among them were Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, Maharashtra's Chief Minister, and several others. Earlier, the Lok Sabha observed an obituary reference remembering Pawar. As the flames rose in Baramati, Maharashtra said goodbye, not just to a Deputy Chief Minister, but to a leader many simply called Dada, which means Big Brother. Ajit Pawar's political legacy, built over decades of influence, authority, and connection with the masses, now passes into memory. Well, that's all we have on the show for today. We'll see you again tomorrow at the same time. Until then, thank you for watching.